I'm Aisha with the Asheville View, and I am so excited today to have with me Jeff Kaplan from the Asheville Chamber of Commerce, Venture Asheville. Is that how you're supposed to say it?
I say it with Venture Asheville. We're part of the Economic Development Coalition, the Asheville Area Chamber of Commerce.
Okay, yeah. That way. I'm so excited to be here with you to learn more about Venture Asheville and how it can be a resource to our community. So tell me more about what Venture Asheville is.
Yeah, first, Aisha, thank you so much for having me on the Asheville View. I've watched a ton of episodes, and I feel really honored to be in this count as a guest with the caliber of guests you've had. So thank you so much for including me.
Yeah, we're excited about it. For real.
Thanks. Venture Asheville is part of the Economic Development Coalition for Asheville-Buncombe County. So I let people know like where we exist and how we're organized. So that means we're part of the public-private partnership between the city, the county, and the Asheville Area Chamber of Commerce. And we tell the story that over 25 years ago, all these entities working on economic development, kind of together, kind of not, everyone was kind of doing their own thing. And they agreed that working together, they would be more effective at that time it was mostly recruiting businesses here or doing workforce development, talent pipelines, all things that you need to have a functioning economy when that functions well and works together. And then about 8-9 years ago, someone had the idea that we should be really working on including startups into this economic development strategy. So the startups defined as new ventures in high growth spaces and high growth industries that can really move the needle on pay, wages, raising capital, and ideally getting big exits. Asheville has so much going for it.
As well as diversifying a community, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
That is a diversification strategy. So when you bring in those 6-figure jobs, you can bring in also diverse candidates to fill those positions and create more diverse communities. So, okay.
That's 100% right. And as a proof point to that, we've had a job board on our website at ventureasheville.com/jobs. And that's our most viewed site from people outside of the most viewed page on our site from people outside of the community. And people bookmark it because you said people from all over, from different backgrounds. We know they want to live in our community. And either they're going to try to bring their job with them or they can find a great high paying job in these knowledge-based growth sectors that highly scalable, high growth ventures tend to need, such as software developers, designers, engineers, sales, marketing, HR pros, all the knowledge-based work.
So one thing that Venture Asheville does is the Venture Asheville Jobs Board. I've scoped it out a few times, even as a business owner, because sometimes you want to be involved in other startups and you want to bring your expertise or sharpen your own saw and be a part of other startups. So I try to keep my eye on that board.
It's good to see who's hiring frequently, because that's an incredible indicator of growth. So when you see one company keeps posting development jobs or they're hiring more sales jobs, you know that team is growing in which ways and what that means for the business itself.
All right. And so what else do y'all do over there?
So I say we build entrepreneurs and get startups funded. And that's like our mission and vision. That is our main goal, why we exist, excuse me, is to build entrepreneurs and get startups funded. And we do that through 3 core initiatives. The first is our mentorship program called Elevate, which is based on MIT's venture mentoring system. It's a long-term relationship with a team of mentors to help entrepreneurs through inflection points in their growth curve. I know that's so jargony, and I apologize for that, but that's kind of the best way I can describe it. I can break it down briefly.
Let me see if I can
explain. Yeah.
Okay? So you help entrepreneurs when they get to that precipice of, like on the hockey stick, when it starts to go up, you help them grow their business, grow their profits, and grow their impact.
That's perfect. Yeah. So that's the hockey stick point. So we don't work with companies in the idea stage. And we do, but not in Elevate. Elevate is really at that point where you're like, holy crud, a lot of our founders are hobbyists or people who are really passionate about something, and they've come on to something like, wow, I could have a real business here. How do I take this to the next level? And a great example of that, I think, is No Evil Foods, right? They started famously, right? Mike and Sage started in their kitchen and then went to farmers markets and then to the Blue Ridge Food Ventures. And suddenly it was like, wow, we need to build a factory. And now they're in 5,000, 6,000 stores across the country. So talk about all the inflection points they've had, right? They can be big, they can be small. One is from the kitchen to the farmer's market, and the farmer's market to Blue Ridge Food Ventures, and Blue Ridge Food Ventures to their factory to 5,000 stores. So each of those points, it's really helpful to have a team of mentors that can guide you through all the questions and problems you didn't know you were going to face, because so many of our founders are doing this for the first time. And a team-based approach is really important because that allows us to get a diverse set of backgrounds and expertise on a team. So we might give you a finance person, a legal person, and then maybe somebody in manufacturing. Maybe you don't have manufacturing as part of your business, but there's components or suppliers that you need to know to give you an advantage to run your business well. So the team-based approach is incredible, and that's why we use it.
So the second thing, so the jobs calendar is the first thing. And the second thing you do is you have this team of entrepreneurs that are from MIT's program, or who use the
get trained by MIT.
Curriculum. Okay. Trained by MIT to come into our city and to work with entrepreneurs to help them build their business and help them make it through their different inflection points as they grow.
That's exactly right. That's very well said. And it's one of the assets we have in our community. So many retirees, we attract a lot of people with incredible backgrounds that are looking for fun stuff to do. And like you said, people want to see our economy stronger through diversity, right? So diversity in industry, diversity in founder. And so the retirees and part-time workers here are a huge asset, and why I think our mentorship program is so strong is because of the caliber of people we have in Asheville.
Gotcha. So what other things that you do at Venture Asheville?
So the part of saying is we build entrepreneurs and we get startups funded. So I'm going to talk about some of the funding opportunities we have.
All right.
We run a micro grant competition, $5,000 grants. Keep it a pretty simple application. You include a 1-minute video. It's really how much impact can $5,000 have on your business. Done that for the past couple of years and had some great results, great success comes out of that. And that's a way for us to get earlier in the funnel. So if it elevates at that inflection point, how do we get you to start something, or how do we give you enough cash to quit your job and start something new, right? So that's what the micro grant program is all about. And that's been pretty successful. We're happy with that. You can learn all about that again on our website, ventureasheville.com/microgrant. Additionally, we on the other end of that life cycle, we have the Asheville Angels, which is an angel investor network to help companies really raise that seed or Series A round. And that's like, you think about Shark Tank, right? Somebody walks in like, hey, Sharks, I'm Jeff with this business and I need $100,000 for 10% of my business, right? And that's really, I'm being cute with it, but that's the point of the Asheville Angels. How do we get startups that significant growth capital?
Mm-hmm. Okay, so I got it. So you do the calendar, you help recruit diverse talent to startups in our area. The second thing you do is you deploy a team of MIT trained specialists, business coaches, mentors into startups. And then you do help with funding. And there's two sides of funding. There's the micro grant funding as well as the angel investors, where you really start getting investments in your business.
Perfect. And I'll add one more thing that we need to advertise more is we do an annual startup road trip. So there's only so much capital in our community. And so many investors have different appetites for different kinds of ventures they want to be involved with. So once a year, we pack a van full of founders and we drive around. We either go across our state to Raleigh, Durham, and Charlotte, Winston-Salem. We've gone to Atlanta, we've gone to Chattanooga and Nashville. And that's where we take any startup who's been through our pitch training. So you don't need to necessarily be in our microgrant program or Elevate or through the Asheville Angels. But if you go through our pitch training and you are raising capital, we will put you in a van with a bunch of founders like you. We've even brought mentors in the past as well. And we do these pitch events at different cities. And we get a ballroom or a restaurant and we cater it. And then we invite all the investors in that city to see our community pitch. The first year we did this, for example, I should mention we're a public-private partnership. So we're in part funded by Asheville and Buncombe tax dollars. So we spent $2,000 of our budget the first year we did this, and we came back with $1.4 million in venture funding. So I mean that's crazy ROI, like 700x ROI. Think about like that investment of our community's tax dollars. Two, right, bring money from other communities into Asheville to create new Asheville businesses and create high-paying Asheville jobs.
I also feel like you're keeping tabs on the trends that the entrepreneurs are like facing. So like how many women are founders, how many teams have co-founders. I feel like you're always sharing those tidbits of information as well. What would you say would be, some of the interesting statistics in our city that we should all be aware of?
Yeah, it's a really important concept to understand because everyone likes to brag on their ecosystem, right? So when you go to Charleston or Wilmington or Charlotte or anywhere, everyone wants to tell you we have the best startups, the best, whatever it is, right? So in my background in academia is metrics, understanding entrepreneurs' individual success rates through competencies. And so we started looking at, well, how do we measure our ecosystem itself? And we look at a handful of these metrics based on revenues, job growth, diversity in founder, diversity through industry, and DEI issues, of course, too, to see what gaps we have. And so let me share, I'll back up. So we do an event every year called the Venture 15 and Venture Asheville Honors, where we ask startups to submit year-end revenues and a bunch of data, like job numbers and who the founders are. And then we publish that through almost a competition where we rank the 15 fastest growing startups. And the past 3 years, all those results and most of that data is on ventureasheville.com/venture15. And our most recent Venture 15, which was in December of 2020, which was a really difficult year. I mean, crazy difficult year for every business. I don't care what industry you're in. It was a hard year. It was an outstanding year for the top 15 startups. And so we learned that this 15 companies brought in $62 million into Asheville's economy through revenue. So year before that, it was like 44 million. Year before that, 52 million. So seeing this like dip and increase is pretty interesting. 2 years ago, 66% of our founders were female. And this year, 40% of our founders are female. So that's a significant dip, right? And we haven't exactly figured out why that is. Anecdotally, we know that women have had a pullback in the workforce throughout the pandemic based on needs of childcare, right? That all the schools are closed and a lot of kids were home and a lot of the mothers and women in the families took over that responsibility. We didn't know we would see that in company leadership and company performance. And something we can see that in the last 2 years.
Why would people not think that?
All right, so I didn't think that. I thought the companies would be swimming along.
I mean, I would
but that's
think
interesting
that
to see.
The higher up that person is, the more of a chance they had to make a choice to be home with their kids and say, hey, this is an opportunity before they graduate or before they leave. I know I was super excited to have my son for one more semester because he's supposed to be at UNCA. So he was going to be on campus. We were about to pay all the fines and fees. And so I think people chose that. Like, oh, I'm going to,
But we didn't know that would affect company performance as much. I understand the individual side of it, but something we can see is that it actually affected company performance this year, which is concerning to me. And an additional concerning point, two more I'll say, is we saw job numbers decrease. Last year, it was about 500 people were employed by those top 15 startups, and this year is 345. And so we see this mismatch in metrics where companies are doing better. Like we have more revenue than we've ever had, but with less people contributing to that revenue, or less people contributing to the companies that produce that revenue. So we see that what's happened in the pandemic is it seems to advantage smaller, younger companies that could pivot or easily take more advantage of the shifting dynamics or just say turbulence in the external environment. And what's really concerning is I think for the third year in a row, we haven't had Black or brown founders in the Venture 15. So we need to we've been working on this for years, is working with partners of the city, partners in the community to say, here's Venture Asheville, here's what we do and why we do it. Help us find the founders who want to go on this journey. And we want to see a much more diverse Venture 15 in the future.
Okay. So what strategies are you all putting in place to do that?
Working with the folks at Grind Coffee House, been working with Jay Hackett towards the NC Idea Black Entrepreneurship Council grant. We're working with Rosanna Mulcahy and the team at they changed the name. It's the Business Equity, the city's Business Equity program.
Inclusion.
Thank you, Inclusion Office. We're also on the Mountain Capital Community Fund. So we look with our partners from like who's getting early funding at places like Mountain BizWorks or Self-Help Credit Union, and who can we help go from what might be a lifestyle Main Street mom and pop business into a high growth category. Working with, of course, the city, Deborah Campbell as well, the city manager, folks like you, Aisha, working with want to see what's coming out of Lenore Ryan's Institute. Are there founders there that are looking to take this journey? And it's all about building more community connections, as well as getting more advertising and publications in some of the, I want to say outside the mainstream, but more ethnically focused publications.
Awesome. So I want to thank you for being on the show and sharing everything going on at Venture Asheville. Thank you for your contribution to our communities. And you're watching the Asheville View. Bye.